Hey, let's get into a rock and roll state of mind here, people. Whether he's smoking in the boys' room, walking on the wild side, or on his way home sweet home. Nikki Sixx, founding member of Motley Crue. Boy, talk about a guy that did everything to extreme. And on several occasions, it almost cost him his life. Today, he's giving people a glimpse into his life of a shattered rock star as he shares his personal diaries from a year during the height of his career to the descent into drug addiction. Recently, we caught up with Sixx while he was in town promoting the Heroin Diaries.
December 25th, 1986, Van Nuys. Merry Christmas. Well, that's what people say at Christmas, right? Except for normally they have somebody to say it to. They have friends and family, and they haven't been crouched naked under a Christmas tree with a needle in their arm like an insane person in a mansion in Van Nuys. They're not out of their minds, they're not writing in a diary, and they're definitely not watching their holiday spirit coagulate in a spoon.
One of the hardest living rock and rollers of the 80s, and 1/4 of one of the most successful bad boy rock bands of all time. Nikki Sixx, alongside Vince Neil, Tommy Lee, and Mick Mars, experienced it all with Motley Crue. The girls, the sex, the drugs. He even cheated death twice. And he's documented everything, and I mean everything. And for a time, it was a wild ride.
It was Animal House, and it was rock and roll, and it was, you know, spring break on steroids. It was amazing. You know, we were crazier than most. And part of the thing with Motley Crue is the fact that people got to indulge in our lifestyle when we came into town. So if it was Tuesday night, it was Saturday night for them.
And indulge they did. But while the party ended for the fans, it continued for the crew. At the height of their popularity, Sixx was on a downward spiral into addiction, feeding what he felt were the demons of a starved childhood, and recording those feelings during a haze of heroin and cocaine.
The actual diaries take place, the ones that we published, Christmas '86 to Christmas '87. By '86, things had gotten out of control for me. And you see a band that is on top of the world, and in looking at my diaries, I saw a guy who the bottom was falling out of it, and I didn't really understand why.
It took another overdose where Sixx shot up the very night he was revived, followed by stints in rehab, with relapse and ultimately recovery, for him to begin to understand why, and then share his story. In addition to the book, Nikki and close friends DJ Ashba and James Michael came up with the idea of making music inspired by the diaries. 13 tracks to be exact, each one coinciding with a different chapter.
The guys, DJ and James, you know, in the band 6 a.m., which wasn't a band yet, said, "I can see the movie." And that was it. I said, "It's a movie." And we scored a soundtrack to a book that was a movie in our head.
That accidents can happen, and it's okay. We all fall off the wagon sometimes.
After reading that book, I don't know how he's alive today. I really don't.
I'm sure if you read this, you probably don't want to go down the same path.
It's sad to think that somebody that was at that level of success in their life was going home, and it was in such a moment of despair.
Since we've been doing this book tour, I've seen a different reaction than what I expected. People are coming up to me saying, "If you can do it, you were so bad. If you can do it, I can do it." If I had an expectation, if I had a hope, that's what I hoped for. If somebody out there can get the message in an alternative way, maybe from a musician, maybe for some other people that stand up, and we sort of work in a united front, maybe we can just make a little difference little by little.
Love the band Motley Crue. Hopefully reading this book
It'll help me stay sober. So it's been 3 years.
For Nikki, ironically now, it's been 6.
It was very difficult. I got through it. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I was one of the worst. I'm telling them what's behind door number 1. You know, it's pretty simple. It's death, it's destruction, it's jail, it's insanity. And I'll show you what's behind door number 2. It's the end of the book. And you can pick.
Just open your eyes.
If I'm seeing that at this point in my life, I'm the most creative, and I can be the most rock and roll, and I can still sneer and play loud and blow things up, then I think, you know, I think maybe it kind of works out, because I don't think it worked out so good for Hendrix. It didn't work out so good for Bon Scott. Didn't work out so good for John Bonham. They're dead.
But Nikki Sixx lived to tell his story, and from a guy who used to spend $35,000 a week on booze and drugs, today is what's truly gratifying.
I'm so happy. It's ridiculous how happy I am.
And countless people are getting the message.
To stay clean like that, it takes a lot of guts to stay clean.
And I get to reflect back on it every single day. It's like the song, Life is Beautiful. I was waiting for my hearse, but what came next was so much worse. And now you can open your eyes and see that life is beautiful.
When you've lost it all, that's when you finally realize that life is beautiful.
Think about it, $35,000 a week on drugs and alcohol. Sixx points out that the lines he wrote for Home Sweet Home more than 20 years ago, just as true today. Think about it. Quote, "My heart's like an open book for the whole world to read." Proceeds from the book are going to go to the Covenant House and Nikki's fundraising initiative called Running Wild in the Night. It's a program to help keep runaway and abused and abandoned youth off the streets. If you need more information, you want to go to our website, log on to myfoxboston.com. And by the way, we do want to point out the Heroin Diaries is really just for mature readers. But it is driving home the point about the dangers that come with addiction. So there you go. And some heavy stuff. And hopefully maybe saving a couple of lives along the way. Kim, Gino, over to you guys.
He's lucky to be here, too. I mean, he makes no secret of that, and it's not a secret to anybody.
And he's right. Life is beautiful.
Yep.